Hey, we're live and direct. If you're watching this after the live, then you're watching the replay of this. But I'm going to be going through a record that I'm working on right now with an artist in my artist development program. And what that is me producing a song with them, mixing it, mastering it, helping them roll it out, and helping them find opportunities with it through publishers, through sync reps, music supervisors, labels, etc. So that is part of my program that I offer here at Radium Records. And it's something I'm very, very proud of that I've built over the last about year and a half. And I've taken on about a dozen different artists, gotten them sync representation, the most streams they've ever had, and some of the best songs that they've ever had or ever made in their lives. So I'm excited to take you guys through a little bit of my process. We are going to be just doing a live stream here, so obviously I'm not going to be like going into producing a whole record with you guys for 10 hours, but I'm going to be showing you something I'm working on, and I'm going to be taking you through sort of like what that looks like, right? Like how do you produce a song, Brad? Do you just make beats for people? I'm not a beat maker. I can make beats, of course. Anyone can make beats, I think. Dragging loops together it doesn't take too much skill anymore nowadays. But producing a song has a lot to do with finding the right people to work on that song. So whether that be top liners, singers, writers, guitar players, bass players, drummers, horn players, etc. But for the most part, every single song I do work on is very hands-on. So I will play on them. I will put keyboards on there. I will produce. I will put drums down. I will program everything and write everything. And then if I need a guitar player or a bass player or whatever, I have them replace that line. So I'm just going to take you into a Logic session I'm working on for an artist named David Nolf. I've done about 3-4 songs with him so far. And every single one of them are just fucking amazing. Actually, one of the songs I made with him, I jumped on and I featured on it, and it ended up getting on Spotify editorial playlist, and it's done well over 220,000 streams on Spotify alone. So that was a really cool thing. I got him sync representation, so his music gets pitched for TV, commercial placements, films, trailers, etc. right now as we speak. So really, really fun, and let's get into the song. And if you're new here or you're just coming through, for the second, third, 10th time, say what's up. I see Kevin Whitaker. So Kevin actually is in artist development program as well. So we've made, 3-4 songs now, Kevin, that we've released. So what's up, dude? That's my guy. Kevin came from not releasing anything to releasing songs with me. And yeah, pretty cool. He's got sync representation. He's got some bangers out there, so definitely go follow Kevin. Kevin Whitaker Music. Who else is in the house? Say what's up. Don't be a creep, and ask questions if you got them, right? So this session is pretty light. You can see right now 62 tracks, and we're not even using this guitar one here, so we could probably just turn it off and hide it. So I do that a lot when I have a track that I'm like, oh, that's not doing anything. One thing about Logic that'll kind of screw you up is you could turn that track off and you could see that the plugins kind of go bypassed, but if you don't actually turn them off, they will still be eating up CPU processing. So if I have those on, it actually brings up the CPU, okay? So just turn them off and you will save processing power, believe it or not. Pretty cool. Now I can hide this, right? So I'm gonna hide selected track. And of course I'm live streaming, so my CPU meter and threads are doing weird stuff. Just the way it works. And then I got some other stuff here where guitars aren't being played, but let's play the track. This is a kind of singer-songwriter track. And we're actually reproducing this song. David produced this song, wrote it, and now he's like, hey man, I just wanna redo this because every time he plays it live, people love it, right? So I was like, yeah, let's make it amazing. So here's what we got so far, and then I'm going to kind of break down some stuff and where I'm at with the production and kind of like my process when producing, because you'll see plugins on a lot of stuff, and you'll see that there is stuff on the master bus, just 2 plugins here, Gold Clip, the God Particle, and this is just stuff I produce through, right? It's not There's not a bunch of EQs and mid-side processing and all that shit. So I'm really just producing, which is, you know, bass, electric guitars, acoustic guitars, some drum ideas and MIDI stuff, Martin D15, Martin OM. We did like a stereo thing, recorded right here, D15's here, rhythm guitar stuff, and you'll hear all this. And then I'll talk about like kind of what David came to me with and what we took from the original session and we're actually using in this session. Okay, so here we go, let's play it.
Yeah, I'm gonna live my life with a one headlight as a passing signs. I traded my sleep cause I needed time, hanging up the phone and we put it to the side. But I'm terrified. Yeah, I'm terrified. Gonna start a revolution in my mind and make believe that the world is kind. One by land and two by sea. Can I find me the peace that I really do need? I'm terrified. Yeah, I'm terrified that I've been living my life, was hitting on beat and the river was dry. But I'm terrified, and I got a black eye, fighting for something that just feels right. So I packed my things, but was it a dream? There's a feeling in my bones and through my bloodstream that I can fly, I can fly, I can fly. And I'm damn sure that I'll try. Yes, I'm damn sure that I'll try. But I'm terrified. Just feels right. Falling so fast that I can't see straight, feeding myself but I still lose weight. Writing these words could set me free. And I've been living my life, was hitting on beat and the river wasn't dry. But I'm terrified, and I got a black eye, fighting for something that just feels right. Yeah, I'm fighting for something that just feels right.
All right, so that's the full song, and as you can tell, we're in production. This isn't like completely done, and there's parts and points where I'm just kind of tweaking stuff, and I want to hear things balanced, and I want to hear things mixed pretty much, right? I kind of mix as I go. It's an important part of like getting the feel of the record, but that's kind of part of production, I think, also in 2024. We're not like saving everything to the end with mixing. So I really am trying to get the sounds and the ideas of the sounds down as I'm working on them, okay? So there's a part here that I want to work on, but for the most part, I'm thinking that this beginning, I really want this to come in really subtle. So something I do a lot of the times to make sure that the emotion is there is I listen to the parts that were played and I go, okay, can we beat that, or is that something that just feels good? So when when David came to me with this song, he had already produced this all up. He had all these drums and all these synths and all this crazy shit on there. And I was like, no, this needs to be stripped down. You know, this needs to be much more organic feeling. So that's kind of what we did with it and where I'm going with it. But the one thing that I really liked about his original and what we kept was this guitar stem. And this was him just kind of like strumming at home. And of course, like I added all my own tone to it, right? So here's without any of the tone and just the guitar, just basically the what he had, like that he played to and sang to and was like the main guitar in his other track.
Yeah, I'm terrified.
So it just felt good. It felt like, you know, someone just kind of playing in their room on a practice amp. You know what I mean? And I think that that has like a very emotional quality to it. You don't want to fix something that's not broken. So if someone comes to you and they're like, yo, I got this song, I want to produce it. Will you produce it for me? You don't go like, yeah, I got you, bro. And then like get rid of all their shit and be like, let me do it this way. You know, that's not production. Production is finding the song and serving the song. And it's really, really important that we find the things that are intentionally telling the story of the writer, telling the story of the artist or the performer on the song and wrapping the world around that person. So with David, you know, if we look at also the vocal chain, I'm doing very like light stuff, right? So auto-tune is on here at 57 on the retune speed and 24 on humanization. So we're really like barely touching it with any tune at all. And that's really because we're just kind of producing right now. So it's like I want it to be in tune, but later this will get melodined, right? If it needs it. Maybe we'll leave some of the cracks and some of the kinks and some of the weirdness. And then I track through the Slate Digital mic. So I use the 251 on him. And I find the 251's really nice for airy stuff, right? So like anything where you're like, you know, anything like that with a male voice, as long as it's up high and it's more of like a tenor voice, then it works really nice. And then just a little compression here on this FG116. Which is a beautiful compressor. And the number 2 circuit is the best on it, honestly. And then we're just doing some dips on some of his nasal and things like that. I'm not doing anything crazy on EQ. De-essing a little bit. Looks like 55, usually side chaining. So this is just like giving it a band pass, not a high pass. So it's really sticking around that 55 area and just tucking that a little bit. And then I'm following it with another de-esser because it's hard because the 251 sounds so beautiful on him, but it also brings out sibilance. And you're gonna run into that a lot with like C800s, 251s, Rode NT1As are gonna give you the worst fucking sibilance that's like from a cheap Chinese capsule. You know, it's just gonna sound like shit. So this is one of the best de-essers out there, so I use that. And then I love the Manny Marquine reverb. This thing is absolutely beautiful. It's very, very spacious. It's buttery, it's silky, but you'll notice I'm very, 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 very lightly doing it at 8, right? And I'll show you why. So with the Altiverb and the Manny Marquine, this is really giving it like a space, this Jet Studio. This is awesome. This is amazing, this Altiverb. And this space is just so beautiful. So it took a while to find like a good reverb that we wanted something very organic in it, right? So just to show you sort of just the spatial stuff, right? So getting rid of the Manny Marquine reverb and the altiverb. And then we're sending this as a parallel compression going to the 1176 blue stripe, okay? So not much going on the vocal, honestly. Little tuning, little EQ, tiny bit of compression, right? Because remember, the only compressor we have is this guy. And that's just barely compressing, but the parallel compression is making sure that we're not changing the sound of the vocal. That's how you get an organic singer-songwriter feel. You don't compress really hard as an insert on the vocal. You parallel compress, right? So you don't change the timbre of the vocal too much. All right, so check this out. Without the Manny Marquine and the altiverb, we kind of get rid of the sense of space that we're in. And it's like really dry, but it doesn't feel organic, as organic.
Yeah, I'm gonna live my life with a one headlight as for passing signs. I traded my sleep cause I needed time.
So right away to my ear, when I hear it dry like that, I hear the compression and I hear the microphone and I hear like, it just sounds too in your face and it doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel like someone in a room. It feels like someone in a studio, right? So I didn't want that. I do not want it to sound like you're recording in a studio. I wanted it to feel a lot like how that guitar feels. So Manny Marquine popping this on.
Yeah, I'm gonna live my life with a one headlight as for passing signs.
All right, so all of a sudden it becomes more three-dimensional, right? Because you have the Manny Marquine has this like pre-delay on it where it's like, you know, I want to live my life. Gives like this, you know, stretches back. It feels really good. And then we put the altiverb on it, and this is the key. All of a sudden we're in an organic space playing this guitar in just a room.
Yeah, I'm gonna live my life with a one headlight as for passing signs. Yeah, I'm gonna live my life with a one headlight as for passing signs. I traded my sleep cause I needed time. Hanging up the phone and we put it to the side. But I'm terrified. Yeah, I'm terrified. Gonna start a revolution in my mind and make believe that the world is kind.
Right, very, very important that the vocal is in this room, and then all of a sudden these other things kind of start to trickle in, right? And like even the guitar right now is too loud. I mean like the second guitar doing the licks and stuff. So we want this like dreamy atmosphere kind of to happen in the background, but we don't want it to be super apparent, right? And you want to slowly lull people up into the chorus, right? And the chorus being here. I also left a little space here for the guitar, so it would like have like a break where I can do some sort of like effect processing to give it like this big like, you know, like wow, you're coming into a bigger world, right? So this part here.
Yeah, I'm terrified that I've been living my life, was hitting on beat and the river was dry. But I'm terrified, and I got a black eye, fighting for something that just feels right. So I packed my there's a feeling in my bones.
So there's just like a few things that give us that kind of feel. And actually this part right here had an effect here, and I do not know what happened to it. which is kind of funny. Maybe the track got deleted or something. So what it was like a kind of reverse part of this guitar. So it was, I think, this part, right? So I like shaved that out, and it sounds like this. Right, so that's like connecting it, but I have like a, doesn't matter. I'll find that in the other session in an earlier save. And that brings me to a point here, like when you do mess something up like that, in Logic, you can just hit F and you can go to your file management over here and you can open up earlier sessions, right? So go into Terrified, for example, David Nolf. Where are we? Here. And then you can go to the session and you can go to like an earlier version, right? So I have like all these saved as the date when I was working on the thing, right? So for example, this is 1225. So we can go to 1208 and you can double click there and then it'll show you everything here. And like this says guitar. So there's like a David lead vocal, guitar. So go David lead vocal, guitar. And then you probably want to go to that guitar right under it. And you'll see, if we do this, content, you can import that session data, right? You can import it right into that session from an earlier session, which I think is really powerful if you lost something or you deleted something, right? And now I don't know if that's the right track or anything. I'm just showing you how to do that in case you kind of screwed something up, right? Like, oh shit, I deleted something. And you can see this brought in this guitar. Now this is not a guitar. Actually, what this is a synth that I recorded. And I did a bunch of sort of, movement on it to make it sound like a guitar. So these are a bunch of different takes of me doing a synth kind of bend sort of thing on this synth down here, which is super incredible, an amazing synth and very, very expressive. And that's kind of what I did with that one. So when you hear it, it kind of sounds like a guitar, but that's because I'm going through a Fender and I'm going through the Tone X as well. And I'm doubling up on these amps just because it sounds cool. I like it, right? Don't be afraid to do 2 amps on your shit. Like I just did it, I don't care, right? But here's what it sounds like. This is just the synth by itself before any of that processing.
So I packed my things, but was it a dream? There's a feeling in my...
So pretty cool idea to make it sort of sound like in between a guitar and like a lap steel and a synth. And it's just like, I don't know, doing something that just feels a little different than something you typically hear of like a guitar or whatever, right? So what I want to work on now with this is like, let's say I wanted this to be a little bit more spacious. Something that's like really fun to do is pan a guitar one way, right? Like just a little bit off. I don't like to pan like super hard sort of thing. But I do want like some space around the vocal, right? So the vocal's here, and then you want like these things kind of like going like this. And then some things can be really wide, but if you make everything wide, nothing's wide, right? We call it big mono. You know, you pan hard left, hard right, hard left, hard right, hard left, and then you get the image, phantom image in the center. So you just have a bunch of stuff right up the middle, really. So I like this kind of thing. Pan this guitar, i.e. synth guitar. Let's just put synth guitar, right? And then I'll send it to, let's say, this effect here, which is the AMS delay. And then I'll pan, see that delay is panned to the left by 27. Check out what this does. This is really cool. It kind of like just gives this stereo kind of spread, but this is actually like delayed and it has some chorusing and it has some other stuff going on it, which really makes something beautiful happen with this kind of like padded feel, right? So just soloing this out. right? So bypassing that in and out, you get like this kind of like, whoa, that's really cool. Like it feels like you're in a space and it like gets wide and just feels really pretty. And you can also add reverb to this one if you want it to be more vibey, right? And like be more like spaced out in the back. And the new Waves plugin I think is really cool for that, Space Rider. I think that'd be a really, really fun one to use on this. So I'm gonna go here, and this is part of like sound design for me when I'm producing. I'll sit here and I'll sound design things and I'll try to get myself excited about something so I can build around that thing, you know, and make a moment in the record. I think that's kind of the joy and the fun in producing, right? You know, play the synth, throw this on there, throw that on there, put a plugin on there, make that sound really unique so people are like, what is that sound? You know, because sound design is the thing that's going to help your record stand out against like the guy that just picks up the stock shit and just goes, oh, omnisphere patch, omnisphere patch, omnisphere patch. And you're like, so boring. Everyone's heard that before. So this is really fun. And one thing I love doing with this is like taking the chorus, for example, right? And maybe taking this and modulating it with the auto fader here. This is like my favorite part of this plugin. And then maybe also the reverb, but like doing the mix and the gain here of the reverb, right? Here, let's see, there we go. Sometimes you have to like hover over it for a little bit. I don't know. I don't really know how to use the plugin very well still. So just like gain that out and do the mix knob, and then we'll do the filter, right? We'll kind of filter that out, whatever. Okay, so now we'll just like let this kind of modulate into space and do some fun shit. Oh, and that's another thing. So if you see the modulation happening and it's going down in the mix when it goes up, you want to kind of flip that, right? So these can be reversed. I did a plugin of the week on this if you guys are interested in learning more about this plugin. It's a really fun plugin. They gave it to me like weeks ago, right? So I've just been kind of fucking with it for a while. But I think it's really, really fun.
So I packed my things, but was it a dream? There's a feeling in my bones and through my bloodstream that I can fly. So I packed my things, but was it a dream? There's a feeling in my bones and through my bloodstream that I can fly, I can fly, I can fly. And I'm damn sure that I'll try. Yes, I'm damn sure that I'll try, but I'm terrified. Yeah, I'm terrified that I've been living my life, was hitting on beat and the river was dry.
All right, so that's kind of like, you know, something I like to do is like take that, automate it up. Same thing here, like when you go into this next chorus, and as I start to lay out this this record, I'm like, okay, so here's this chorus, but then this chorus should get like much bigger, right? instead of thinking, oh, you got to just keep stacking stuff and making things bigger and bigger, maybe this chorus here needs to get smaller, right? So I think about that constantly. So for example, maybe these acoustic guitars, because we have these acoustics and we have these acoustics, maybe we don't need all 4 of these. Right, which I like these because they kind of add this like top to this chord voicing. So what we're doing here is we're doing a different voicing where it's bang, 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 right? We're putting that note up there, and if you listen to the Martins, we're putting a different note on top. Bung, bung, ba-da, bung. It's like the mid-range, right? So you have that mid-range, that same note in the mids, but then this pops it up on top with a different inversion, right? So check it out. Right, and that feels a little bit more country too. So it pulls it a little bit more to like a folky kind of vibe. But it's also pop, like voice leading wise, right? So bang, 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 bang. You're just like holding that note, which if I play the keyboard here, we can find that note, but that's like really what I'm trying to do on that part, you know? So we'll go like here, I'll show you what and we can also accentuate that maybe with another synth or something, right? So it's that F right there, right? Right, so that F is like flipped up to the top there. But when you have these Martins, and this is a really cool trick to kind of make your guitars feel more like thick and full, and almost like 12-string-ish, right? Is to flip one of them. So have one of them like in root position sort of thing, and then have another guitar playing up, right? So you're inverting the chord. I mean, it's very basic really if you know just even a little bit of theory, right? But that's a great trick to do. You can also do Nashville tuning on the acoustic and play the Nashville tuning, which is more of like an open tuning. So you have like a lot of the notes tuned open, like open C, you know, it's just gonna feel more rich and more harmonic. And that's what happens. You get like these really beautiful harmonics. But on these acoustic guitars, you want to make sure that they don't get any of that body in them either, right? So like popping a Pro Q3 on here, just really focus on the top stuff, right? On these guitars, because that's what you're doing. You're flipping it up. All right, so that's a great EQ curve for this guitar. I wouldn't do much more. Another thing I don't like to do on acoustics is have much of this top. So I might just carve out a little bit. You can do the same thing with MIDI strings. And I actually learned this from Alan Meyerson when I worked with him on Thor Ragnarok. Just take MIDI strings and shelve down this shit. Like just go like up to 16K or so. And then all of a sudden your MIDI strings will sound a lot more real, because when you're machine sampling and you're hitting the same note and it's always the top that sounds weird, right? It's like it's just not right. So I do that on acoustics as well. Some people like shelve up acoustics. I hate that. And then they get really, really bright when you go to master, right? Because you're adding any sort of sparkle or whatever, it just kind of overdoes it like crazy. So I try not to do crazy mix moves while I'm producing, but I do want to make sure I know what those parts are for the song. So I know that this is the high guitar part, and that's what I'm trying to do with the EQ. And then I know that this is the punch in the middle part of the acoustic, right? So that's kind of the idea around it. So I'm gonna pop that over as well. And now let's just listen to these acoustics, which are the top ones with the inversion. Right, that's really, really nice when it's in the mix with everything. So let's pop it in the mix with everything.
I've been living my life, was hitting on beat and the river was dry, but I'm terrified, and I got a black eye.
Right, so the Martins all automatically are gonna have body to them because I used my D15. It's like a 22-year-old D15, all mahogany dreadnought, right? And that's just a punchy, fat, full body kind of guitar. And it's pretty thick, right? And then you got the Taylor, which Marco Flores, guitar player I work with all the time here in LA. He's actually from Mexico, so he's back and forth Mexico and LA, but he's got some great chops on a guitar. So he played all the guitars on this, besides the acoustic Martin stuff. That was me and David just really tracking here in this room. And they sound great. Like, I used the Slate digital mic on these, and let's see, I used the C12, right? So AKG C12, i.e. FG12, because they can't say C12 from AKG. And then this Hollywood, this is like a preamp saturation, console kind of thing. With and without that, I'm trying to push some body into these guitars. So just bypassing this right here, because this really adds like a really good punch to the Martins, right? So let's bypass that in and out, just so you can really hear what this is doing. Oh, and then I'm using a different mic for the left and right. So this is the C67, or sorry, the U67 Neumann, right? But the FG67, darker mic, right? It's gonna be really nice in the mid-range. But if you want top brilliance and stuff, I wouldn't use the 67. But it's amazing for mid-range. So we have the Martin OM, which is a brighter Martin, using a darker mic, okay? And then we have the D15, which is a darker mahogany dreadnought, using the C12, which is a brighter mic. They just complement the guitars better. So we track two different guitars, one left, one right, both Martins, but different style of Martin, okay? So just bypassing the Hollywood preamp thing here, check this out. Right, just nice. Brings the harmonics up front a little bit. Kind of feels a little bit like compression, and it really is, because you're driving into a preamp, so it's compressing, right? It's distorting or overdriving, which is awesome. Like, what a great plugin. And if I turn these mics off and everything, like, let's just bypass everything on this, and you'll hear just how bad really the Slate Digital mic is without the actual modeling. Because it's really just like a cheap Chinese microphone, right? But then you add the modeling to it, and it's like, oh, this is you can do some cool shit with this.
And I got a black eye, fighting for something that just feels right. That I think right. So I packed my things, but was it a dream? There's a feeling in my bones and through my bloodstream that I can fly, I can fly, I can fly.
All right, so now let's talk about, you know, some more kind of things to put things in the mix, because, you know, as you produce, you have to understand why you're doing things, not just doing it, right? So this track is sort of supposed to build to a bigger point, and this point right here is sort of the ultimate point right here, right? As he's coming into this last chorus part, and then it goes back down as an outro. So it starts really small, and it starts to build, gets to the first chorus. First chorus should be pretty big, but not super big. And then we're getting into second verse, and it feels together, and the drums are there, and the rhythm's there, but it's not huge, right? And then we build again to another crescendo coming into the biggest part. And then we come out of that, and we go back down to this really small part. So showing you all those parts and how we kind of achieve that, you know, and this is not being done at all. This is like 70% there as far as production goes. You know, and like definitely, like I haven't even started mixing this or anything like that. So this is the intro. So we're gonna get really, really small, okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna live my life. Yeah, I'm gonna live my life with the one headlight as a passing signs. I traded my sleep cause I needed time. Hanging up the phone and we put it to the side. But I'm terrified. Yeah, I'm terrified. Gonna start a revolution in my...
Right, so very small. We want to be small here. And then we get to the very first chorus where we kind of open up, and it's like the, whoa, this is great. We're in the song.
Terrified that I've been living my life, was hitting on beat and the river was dry. But I'm terrified, and I got a black eye, fighting for something that just feels right.
Okay, first chorus, no harmonies. The only stacks we have are a left and right double on the vocals, right? Drums come in, but drums are just playing toms and stuff, right? They're not doing anything big, some crashes and things like that. And these drums aren't done. They're just kind of a placeholder. But these are all addictive drums, right? So I have the United recording room, which I think these sound awesome to demo drums. And then I'll probably get a drummer to replace these, right? Because a drummer can put more dynamics into it, can put fills in there. I don't need to go and like spend all this time, you know, programming MIDI. But I programmed all these drums and stuff, you know, just played them and messed with them on the keyboards. This just has a little bit of compression, Logic, bam. And these drums are very, very simple. So here's the drums.
That I've been living my life, was hitting on beat and the river was dry.
Okay, a really important thing with production, composing, anything. It doesn't matter what you're doing musically. If you get rid of a common thread throughout the song and you get rid of that thread, you will lose the song, okay? So this is our common thread, this guitar that he originally came with the song. If I get rid of this guitar, the song falls apart, okay? So this is the guitar that we're basing everything around.
But I'm terrified, and I got a black eye, fighting for something that just feels right. So I packed my things, but was it a dream? There's a feeling in my bones and through my bloodstream that I can fly, I can fly, I can fly.
Right, so that's the common thread. You want to keep that common thread throughout the whole song. You don't want to chop it out. You don't want it to like be missing somewhere. Besides this part where I just put a little pause there because I'm going to use a little transition effect, maybe a rolling timpani kind of like on the floor tom or something. I don't know yet, but that's going to be a point where I can build some suspense and some delivery into that first chorus. Now going back to the idea of it being small and then building, 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 and then boom, it hits a chorus, which feels really big because everything else is so small in the beginning, okay? So this feels big right now. It feels really big, and there's not much to it. You know, you got a lead vocal, you got doubles. So these doubles are doing exactly what the lead's doing. There's nothing crazy here. I just said, David, double this. Double left, double right, panned.
That I've been living my life, was hitting on beat and the river was dry. But I'm terrified, and I got a black eye, fighting for something that just feels right.
All right, bada bam. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not big. It's not big, but it feels much bigger compared to what we have here. Okay, so that's the key. Now we're dropping into the second verse and we start to get just a little bit more fluid. And we have a rhythm going, which helps it kind of move.
So I packed my things, but was it a dream? There's a feeling in my bones and through my bloodstream that I can fly, I can fly, I can fly. And I'm damn sure that I'll try. Yes, I'm damn sure.
Right, and then we build up again, right? Now we're going back up and we start to build in these other oohs and stuff, right? So here we have the doubles, and then we have ooh, 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 ooh. We have like 5 stacks here, right? So check it out. So now this is the biggest part of the song, and it probably will get stacked even more, meaning there might be another harmony to the lead vocal, which will be left and right. And then might be like some more stringy kind of stuff with the synths that aren't necessarily strings, but aren't necessarily synths, and they're not necessarily guitars, but we don't really know what they are, but they just like have this beautiful kind of wispy feel to them. So this is where we're at now. And I'm just going to bounce around after I show you all these parts.
I've been living my life, was hitting on beat and the river was dry. But I'm terrified, and I got a black eye, fighting for something that just feels right.
Right, so what else do we get? We get a full-on rock drum, you know, on the 3, right? So 1, 2, I guess on the 2. So we have on the drums, the snare starts to hit, right? That's really, really important to this part, and what makes it bigger as well. We've held out on really giving you that rock drum, right? And there it is.
My life was hitting on beat and the river was dry. But I'm terrified.
Right, now that's gonna be bigger because you got a snare now that's happening, you know, 1, I guess it is on the 3. 1, 2, you know, it feels bigger, heavier, weighted, right? That's the key there. You have everything going now, and then you have these oohs, right? These harms and these oohs. So here we go. These are the stacks here that are gonna add to that.
But I'm terrified.
right, so we got a high, a mid, and one low. We're not gonna do left and right on the lows. Ooh, like that's like a octave down or whatever, right? Ooh. So that's kind of the idea there, okay? So none of this is comped, none of this is tuned, none of this is like put together. This is production, right? This is like, okay, we're singing these parts. Like you could see literally that some of these are still in stacks, right? This is all in stacks. Not even fully comped or anything, right? I'm like, oh, I think that works best on that half. It's nothing crazy. And then the lead vocal is still kind of being comped, you know? Like, I like that, I like that, I like that. So might go back and do some pickup sessions. So I tracked all these vocals here, of course, you know? I've been tracking vocals for over 20 years. I've tracked some amazing vocalists, insanely talented people. And David's great. Like, he's awesome in the studio. He's a little sibilant, but you know, we're working on it. And you know, he does great in the studio. So it's a lot easier. And then this last part, now we're getting back to go really small again, right? So let's go real small again.
Falling so fast that I can't see straight. Feeding myself, but I still lose weight. Writing these words could set me free. And I've been living my life, was hitting on beat and the river wasn't dry. But I'm terrified, and I got a black eye, fighting for something that just feels right. Yeah, I'm fighting for something that just feels right.
Right, so making that more intimate would probably be less processing. That's how I kind of think about it. So if I duplicate this track, maybe I'd do something like this with this vocal here. Take this down, pull it here, and I would go, okay, let's take this and let's compress less on this, right? So let's go here. Make sure this isn't compressing more than 3 dB.
Falling so fast that I can't see straight. Feeding myself, but I still lose weight. Writing these words could set me free. And
very, very little compression, but we are compressing on the way in, right? And then we're gonna dry it up a little bit so you can see the Manny Marquine verb gets turned off, right? And then maybe, let's see, this has a Valhalla it's sending to, right? So on this one, maybe we go a little tighter and a little drier. And maybe also the parallel compression, we take that down a little bit, right? So take that down, take the verb down. Altiverb I really like. I think maybe we even just have the altiverb and kill this reverb send. The altiverb just has like a room, and I'll exaggerate that so you can really hear what that's doing.
Falling so fast that I can't see straight. Feeding myself, but I still lose weight. Writing these words could set me free. And I've been living my life, was hitting on beat and the river wasn't dry. But I'm terrified, and I got a black eye, fighting for something that just feels right. Yeah, I'm fighting for something that just feels right.
Right, it just gets a little bit more intimate. You know what I mean? So this is all about, it's about finessing and finessing and finessing and finessing and coming back to the record and going, does that feel overproduced? It's really easy to overproduce stuff. And when you get to a song like this, it can't feel too overproduced, but it does have to feel professional. It does have to work really well, you know, in a movie scene. Romantic movie scene or whatever it might be that we're going to be, you know, getting opportunities for with this song. But more than anything, my number one goal is always to make awesome records, right? I want this song to be served. I want this to be like, oh man, I really feel what the protagonist is going through. Like, this song is about being terrified of taking a big step. David wrote this when he was leaving his hometown of Buffalo, New York, and deciding to come to LA and chase his music dream. That's a very vulnerable position to be in, right? Where you're like, man, I really hope this works out. Like, this is, should I even do this? Should I just stay in my safe little bubble? Like a lot of you guys do. A lot of you guys don't ever actually invest or do anything more than what you've ever done, you know? You're not taking steps. You're not stepping out of your comfort zones, you know? And that's really scary. And I understand that. I've jumped out of my comfort zone many times in my life. Starting a business, you know, 8 years ago in music was the hardest thing I've ever done. You know, and I'm talking about like that was me starting my own company in music. Before that, I worked with other people. I worked for big composers, you know, and I worked with teams of people that were working on, you know, commercials and TV shows and films and scores and DDD and da-da-da. And it was on that person, the business owner, not on me. I was a composer, or I was a producer on the project for, you know, in a group of people or whatever. Now it's like, this is my company, this is my business, and I'm responsible for it. All the good, all the bad, all the income, all the outcome, the taxes, everything. So that's a really scary position to be in, especially when you're like, how do you make money with music? It's impossible, right? So that's kind of the idea of the song. And so I can relate to it so well. So it's easy for me to like try and find that emotion and pull it out of the song. But that's it, guys. That's really a little bit behind my process and a little bit about, you know, making a song and how I think about it when I'm working with another artist, because I work with a lot of different artists that do different styles of music, right? From like singer-songwriter to rock to punk to rap, hip-hop, trap, R&B, and everything in between. You know what I mean? So every song, it doesn't matter what the genre is, every song has to hit that thing, that emotion. It has to have that soul. Most of the time, people can't get there on their own. They don't understand harmonic structure or how to get some sort of chord in there that makes you feel a certain way. I learned that from composing music for fucking over a decade, like 15 years now, you know, and like really composing music and writing to picture and telling stories. It's, you know, using the right techniques. It's not easy. The droning sound on the background. I didn't know there was a droning sound in the background. Thanks for telling me. Thank you. Is that it? Did I kill it? John? Yeah, it's a really cool song, man. I really like it. I think it's a great song. He's already produced it too, like, and put it out. And you can check it out, actually. You can check out the other version of it. It's called David Nolf Terrified. Go look it up on Spotify. I'm trying to stay far away from what that song was doing, though. I did not like it. I did not like the production on it or the mix on it or anything. It felt way too contrived. And David and I talked about that many times. Oh, thank you guys. I had no idea that there was any droning, so appreciate you guys letting me know. How long was that droning going on? Be honest. Because, yeah, please let me know when shit like that happens, because I can't hear it. It doesn't come through the speakers. On a rock tune? Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll do one of these like behind the production sort of thing on the rock tune. You know, this one, once I'm actually done with it, I'll go break it down again, you know what I mean? Just so you guys can get a better understanding of like where you're at the middle point and then where the finish point is, like with the mix, the master. Like, this isn't mixed at all, you know what I mean? This is just balanced. And we're like doing sound design and stuff right now. So, yeah, I haven't even like finished the final vocals or anything like that. I still got a lot to do on this record. Getting a drummer on it, I think, is going to make it really great. So thought it was on purpose. Yeah, man, he's got this like droning synth thing going on his videos. It's sick. Do you guys have any questions at all? Like, I can answer some questions, you know, spend a few minutes answering questions. But that's kind of like, it's making a song is very organic, right? It's like everybody has different ideas of what they think is cool and what they like and don't like. And you have to find people that hear things the same way you hear things. And that's why David and I work so well together, is because he hears things the way I hear things. He's like, dude, that's sick. Whatever you're doing, Brad, is amazing. I can't do that. Right. And I'm like, yeah, well, what you're doing is amazing and I can't do that. Right. Like, I don't sing like David. I don't come up with stories like he does, these like really emotional songs. Like, it's not something I do a lot because I'm not like a super emotional guy. You know what I mean? But I know how to pull those emotions out, and I study that shit. And, you know, I'm okay with feeling. And I think that's really important to, you know, to be a great producer, songwriter, singer, artist, performer. You have to be okay with feeling and being okay with being vulnerable and putting yourself out there. I mean, shit, just making content and putting this shit out online, this is a very vulnerable place to be. I get comments all the time that are very hateful and silly and, you know, just kind of bash me and put me down. And I used to really care about that. You know, I'd read the comments and I'm like, what the fuck, man? I don't even know this person. And they're like hating on my shit and talking shit and telling me I'm an idiot and I don't know anything and all this stuff. I'm like, man, should I even do this? Is this like worth it? You know, so you have to have that thick skin, but also like that vulnerability where you're like, you know, people are going to hate what I do. And some people are going to love it. And some people are going to be like indifferent and not really care. And that's okay. You just kind of just make what you make and put yourself out there. And the more you're just like genuine to yourself, I think the more you're going to find people that really resonate with what you do, who you are as a person, and like you. All right. And totally dislike you and hate you almost, you know, but that's okay. I'd rather be hated than like not known or like nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather someone be like, God, I fucking hate that guy. And be like, yeah, well, at least you know me, you know, at least like if you hate me, that means that there's someone out there that got a lot from me. Right. And it's funny, the other night, actually last night, I took my little brother out to this restaurant in Hollywood and we were eating and we were out on the patio, back patio, and someone came into the restaurant. This guy came in with his parents. I don't know. He's probably in his 20s or something, but he like looked right at me and he was like, hey, are you a producer? And I'm like, yeah, man. He's like, I follow you on Instagram. I just thought it was really funny, but he was like, yeah, man, that's crazy. And then like, he's like talking to his parents, like all hyped. And I was like, whatever. And then my little brother's teasing me. He's like, whoa, dude, that guy like really like, he's like fanning out, huh? And I'm like, I don't know, whatever, you know? And then when I got up to leave, I like passed by their table and I was like, hey man, I'm Bradley, you know, what's your name? And like introduce myself and stuff. And I was like, what did I ask him? I was like, oh, what's your Instagram, man? I'll give you a follow on Instagram. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm so. And his dad was like, yo, here's all of his music is on this card. You know, it's got a scan code and stuff. And like, they were really excited. And his dad was like, yo, he's learned a lot from you. He's learned a ton from you. He just made his own record, like his own album and stuff. And they're all excited, you know? And I was like, that's it. That's a big reason why I do this, because I help that guy, you know, I help that guy and his parents know it. He knows it. They're all really excited about it and they've made something from it. Like, they're like, he's got an album, and they're in Hollywood and they're like having dinner and they're like, man, and you're a big reason why he's got an album, you know? And I was like, wow. And if I can do that like exponentially and work with artists one-on-one and work out with artists with my team, you know, it's not a cheap thing to do for, for a lot of people, they can't afford to work with me. But if I can do that and I can do it on another level with them, I can change people's lives. Like truly, I can change people's lives. And I just think that's like super rewarding. Besides like, you know, people just learning from me, but people like actually changing, like gaining more confidence, making music and songs that they actually really love. I think that's really that's like the end goal, you know? You want to like make amazing shit and inspire people and grow culture from it and grow networks. And, you know, it's just really fun. It's something I really enjoy. And I actually like people. I'm one of those rare people that actually like people. How do you know when it's done? I kind of overproduce. I think the song tells you when it's done. I also think that you never finish anything. Nothing's ever done. You just stop in an interesting spot, in a spot like you stop the thing in a spot where you're like, this is actually pretty cool. Now we should put that out and we should move on. You know, art, you can just keep going with it. I could keep working on this. I could retrack the guitars. I could try this and I could try that. And I could just keep going and keep going and keep going and tear down the song and make a new one and then tear it down and then write it again and then write it again and try it again. But you get to a certain point where you go, this is actually really interesting right here. Let's mix it and master it. Another reason why I think about the who, not the how, John, is exactly this question. How do you know when it's done? Get it to a point where you're like, I think this is pretty cool. Like, I think if I do more, I'm going to ruin it. And if you do more, you do ruin it. And then you go back to an older version. That's when you hire the who. You hire a mixing engineer. And the mixing engineer goes, here you go. And you go, fuck, that's way even better. And then they master it. And then it's like someone else is saying, that's done. You don't have to say it. And that's really important. When you let go of your ego and you let go of the music and the art and you release it into somebody else's hands to say, it's done, it's finished, right? Like my CPA, you know, I don't do my business taxes or my business books. Yeah, that would be a disaster. Right? So you find the who, not the how. And you don't try to figure out how to do everything. Like as I was going through that, I'm like, so-and-so played guitar on this. So-and-so played bass on this. You know, David's singing on this. Like you have to find other people, build out a team of people. What else are you going to do with your money? Oh, I'm going to get another plugin. I'm going to get a guitar. Like then you got to learn how to play all that stuff and learn all the technology. And it's just a lot of time. Like how much time do you have? If you got unlimited time and you don't care, like you want to spend 20, 30 years getting to a song where you're like, I'm really fucking into this and I'm proud of it and I'm releasing it and getting numbers, then fine, do it all yourself. Who cares, right? But yeah, money, one of my favorite sayings is, if you have the money, you don't have the problem, right? It's like, how do I know if I overproduce it? Well, that's a problem. But if you have the money, you can solve that problem. You can hire producers, you can hire songwriters, you can hire mixing engineers, you can hire recording studios, you can hire string players, you can hire arrangers, you can hire orchestrators, you can hire everybody. And also you learn from those people. Every time you work with people that are better than you at what you do, like I don't play bass as well as Marco does. I don't play guitar as well as Marco does. So if I sit here and go, I'm going to track all the guitars, then what, I'm going to get one song done every like 2 months? I'm not going to do that. I don't have time for that. I want to make more music and more great music. Do you lay out the vision at the beginning or kind of flow and figure it out? I lay it out in the beginning and then I flow and figure it out as well. And that has a lot to do with the song and the artist. And if it's my music, it's my song, then that's different, right? Then I can just flow the whole time and figure it out. But when I'm working with another artist, it's like, we have to like, you know, this is what I got. And I go, how do we make this great? You know, we figure out a plan and a vision and then we map it out and then we figure it out as we go, for sure. And you find like the right players. And that's what a producer does. Producer has the network, has the resources, has the things that they've put together over decades of doing it. I know this guitar player and that string player and these people that do that and that person that does that and this, you know, and the skills to put it all together to make it a cohesive piece of music that hopefully people like. More importantly, that we like, that I love David loves and we're excited about. Have you tried Luna? No, I haven't messed with Luna. I'll have to kind of check it out, but honestly, like once you get into a DAW, I've been using Logic Pro and Pro Tools for well over 15 years. I started on Cubase VST5, just so you guys are like understand how old I am. A lot of y'all don't even know what Cubase VST5 is. How long did it take to get used to talking to the camera? A very long time. But you get better and better the more you do it, Todd. I think it's like anything. You got to practice. You got to just do it. Do you think full stack producer is the best business model? Not sure what full stack producer means. But if that means do everything, no, I don't think it's the best. I think it's a terrible business model. Yeah, it's not good. What do you got? Kevin Whalen. I dig how you approached and described the song. Makes total sense to me. Dope. Thanks for stopping by, Kev. Appreciate it. And all you guys, like, thanks for coming through. I know it's like Thursday night. NAMM's going on. I didn't go to NAMM today. I'm going to be there tomorrow. I'll be there on Saturday and maybe Sunday. But yeah, appreciate you guys coming through. And if you guys are interested in working with me one-on-one and with my team and my resources, you know, I'll leave a link in the description of this video so you guys can book a call. Do you view yourself as a general contractor in music? No, not at all. I understand that question, but no. I'm not like a contractor. I don't like contract out things. You know, I'm the architect, right? So I have the skill set to build the building with everything it needs, but I'm not going to learn how to put the windows in. Someone else is going to put the windows in, and it's going to be someone that's very skilled at the style of windows that I want to put into that building. I'm not going to do the flooring. I'm going to find the person that does the flooring the best way for the building that I'm building and that I'm designing. I'm going to source the marble that I want to use for the flooring from the best marble person in all of Africa, where they have the best marble stone, right? I'm going to find all the things that I need to make the thing perfect for what I envision or what I design. I'm the architect. I'm the producer. And if I need to, I'll build it all myself. But yeah, that depends on budget, right? So in that sense, there's a contractor like that works, right? Like, oh, well, you got a lower budget. Well, I guess that means I'll be playing guitar on this. You know what I mean? Makes sense? VST5 had a printer dongle. Yeah, straight up. A floppy disk. Produced to control the quality of what you mix and master. Yeah, I mean, I mix and master because I love mixing and mastering. That's an art form to me. It's like if, you know, you asked, like, best painters in the world, like, hey, are you going to finish this off? Like, oh, no, I'm going to have someone else finish it. Like, because I don't like that part. Like, I love that part. I love mixing and mastering. I think it's very fun, especially when it's a song that I love. Johnny Gillespie in the house. Man, you always show up right when I'm ending the live. It's good to see you, brother. All right, you guys. Well, I appreciate you guys coming through. Share the show. You know, if you get anything out of these streams, any of the videos on the channel, like them, drop comments, you know, subscribe, all this stuff that's going to help the channel grow and the community grow. The more the community grows here, the more you guys grow and the more you get out of it as well. So it's kind of a no-brainer. All right, till next time. Peace out, guys.